So, ladies, we are going to start Shaar HaBitachon because it's a very important text. I thank Hashem for the opportunity to share this with you. It's a book that brings us strength and courage to the Jewish people, to hope to the Jewish people for many years and centuries. This book is actually 1,000 years old. This Shaar HaBitachon is a part of a bigger book. So the Sefer is called Chovot HaLevavot, Duties of the Heart, and it has many different sections per se. This is section 4 of it, okay? So it's just a part of the book, and this one has been now redone with a lot of Hasidic explanation, and it's all about trust. And I think it's very appropriate to the time that we are living on through. Now, the gate of trust makes a person go to a transformation. When you really learn every day a little bit, it's going to really touch every part of what we worry about, every part of what we think about it, that sometimes you're like, okay, who's going to give me the answer to this? It really helps you in build your trust and gives us a lot of resiliency when things are difficult. It makes you be more calm. And it really shows you how Hashem, in all his compassion, is there for you, even when you think he's not. You know, a lot of times when things are good, we're all like, okay, great, life is great. But when things are difficult, it's a little bit harder to try to have emunah, right? When you were working for something for a very long time and then it doesn't come out, you're like, oh, really? Like, it's frustrating, right? So what do you do with that? But when you start living on a different wavelength, which is called God's wavelength, your life just looks a little bit different. You feel different, you think different, you act different. How old is the book? It's 1,000 years old. It was actually written in Spain, so it was actually written in Arabic, Judeo-Arabic. And that's also something that is very important, because when you think about a book that was written in the language of the people, it means that it's accessible to every person, no matter your background affiliation. It's not like these books that are written only in Hebrew or very difficult language that is for the people. This is for the everyday man, okay? Now, it's also the first time that these concepts were brought up in a very clear structure, and I'm going to show you in 2 seconds how. And it's very practical in how to apply and how to grow your trust. And also to help us tweak when our thinking goes the other way, when it goes negative. So if I were to open the book, Shaar HaBitachon, I recommend everybody to bring it. If you buy your own copy online and you bring it, you could start writing notes. I usually don't write notes in books, but this is not going to be a book. This is going to be your life companion. And any problems you have, you're going to go back and you're going to find your answers. Then you could write your notes on the side if you want. There is room to do that. So let me just tell you some of the subjects that are going to speak about it, and you tell me if this is something you will like in your life. So first idea is the importance of bitachon. The second idea is about tranquility. How many people here want tranquility? Okay. The next thing that's going to speak is going to be our own ability and wealth, our parnasa. Anybody would like to have that settled down? How to improve interpersonal relationships with others. Yeah, financial worries, right? Then it's going to be about the idea of traveling for your job. It's going to be all about employment. Then it's going to go into the idea not to have distress. And ultimately, it's going to be how to be happy. So I think that's kind of right exactly where we need to be. Okay? There is obviously many other different things about how to pray, what to ask for. It's a really, I would say, is like a handbook on your emotional connection to Hashem. That's what this sefer is. And it's very important because a lot of times we're doing all the rules in our heads, right? Okay, lit Shabbat candles, check. Put the plata on the check, right? Like we become almost mechanical with the things, right? How often is our prayer? Oh, okay, I pray. Yeah, did I pray? Okay, yeah, check, right? It's not even like, wow, I pray, right? It's not like that emotion we had yesterday when we were saying the Tehillim in the March. So this is more about bringing Torah from your mind to your heart, from your intellect to your emotions. And remember that one of the most important mitzvot we have is what? Ivud Hashem besimcha, to serve Hashem in gladness. But if we don't wire ourselves intellectually to our heart, it's very hard to do it with gladness, because then you're like a robot just doing actions. Okay, so let's understand How did the book come to be? A little bit of a background. So who wrote this sefer? It's called Rabbeinu Im Pekuda. He's a rabbi that lived about 1,000 years ago in Spain. As I say, it was written in Arabic Judeo, which was the language that the Jewish people spoke about it. His son translated the Rambam, actually from Aramaic. Chovot HaLevavot addresses the issues that Judaism isn't just a ritual. It's not my to-do list, Shabbat check, kashrut observance, but it's more about our responsibility of the duties of our heart, right? That's why it's called Chovot HaLevavot. In other words, we say, how is a Jew supposed to feel? And that's something that is very, very important right now. I'm in many, many of the chats, and everybody posts something. I post, everybody posts, and then we all have a reaction to what's being posted. We all also trying to think right now: should I be in a rally every single day? Should I be packaging for soldiers? Should I sit down in my house and just pray the whole day? Like, what should I be doing? It's so confusing, right? Sometimes you pray and pray and pray, and you're like, okay, what did I do? I just pray the whole day. It's great that I pray, but sometimes you don't see if where you are at is really where you should be at. So Chovot HaLevavot is teaching us what is the service of your heart, how much of it, how do we do it, okay? Now, Bitachon is a very hard word to translate. It has many different translations. One of them is certainty or confidence. And another way to put it is to trust instead of belief. Now, as I mentioned before, this text is a very big book. This is the number 4, and they're all called gates. You see, it says gate of trust. The Rambam gives an analogy to illustrate the difference between trust and belief, right? We all have two things that are called emunah and what else? Bitachon. The Rambam explains the following. He says that there are trees without a fruit, right? You have trees that don't give fruits, right? Like all the trees on my block, they do not give any fruit. But there is no such a thing as a fruit without a tree. You could have it one way, but you cannot have it the other way. What's the difference between the two? There are people who believe in God. If you ask them if there is a God, they'll say, yes, of course there is a God. If they say, was the world created or it just happened to be, they're going to say, no, of course the world was created. But philosophically, they're very comfortable with the idea that there is a God. But they will tell you, yes, of course. But then practically speaking, to the everyday, today's lives, they're like, Hashem doesn't need to be involved in this area of my life, right? So they are connected in the ideology, but they're actually not connected in the everyday lives. So how much emotionally are they really congruent with this idea of faith? And I think this is something that we're not here, God forbid, to judge anyone, because I think that is just the human condition. Some days we are more prone and open to understand that God is anything, everything, and there's nothing that doesn't fall outside of God's realm. And some days we're in our human mode, and it's just hard to see. So there are people who have belief in God, but they don't have trust in Him, right? So they say, yes, I believe in God, but yet you're like super nervous when you're taking the fly and the fly is shaking all over the place. If you have fully trust in Hashem, you should say, it's fine. Everything's going to be just fine. Doesn't matter the outcome. I'm going to be fine. How many people could go on that space? We are always work in progress. And that is the beauty of the Torah. The beauty of the Torah is that Torah wasn't given for an angel. That is the reason why Hashem, to begin with, created the human being. He has billions of angels. So why bring us to a human being? Because Hashem wants our daily, hourly, to the minute, yes, I'm trusting, yes, I'm not trusting. Yes, our little work that we do every single day in being more connected and living more godlike, that's the place where Hashem wanted to be, because that is the place where we're able to bring Hashem to physicality. Angels cannot do anything for physicality. They're great, they're awesome, they're up there flying somewhere, but they cannot relate to the physical world that you are in today. Today, everybody in this room has the ability to make a decision, to make a bracha in what you're eating, yes or not. You have the ability to elevate the physical, very physical things that are nurturing your physical life. So, however, if you see that somebody who has trust in Hashem, then certainly he also needs to believe in Hashem. So somebody who has trust, then he actually also believes. But it's not the other way around. If he has trust in God, obviously he's also that believes that there is a God that exists. And that is the difference between the tree and the fruit. We don't want the tree, we want the fruits. We don't want the idea that, yes, I believe in God, but you want that connection that you feel that God is here. And that really takes time, is work. And it's interesting because I told you in one of the many classes that I used to love flying. I used to love paragliding, parasailing, all these different things, going in motorcycles, jet ski, you name it, I did it. I remember there were the raids in Colombia when the government was overthrown, and I was going from one place to my house in a motorcycle, and I came home, and you couldn't go into the neighborhood because they were doing, I don't know how you call it, when you take a bottle and you put fire in it. Yes, this. And they were falling left and right. And I remember my mother came home. I came home, and my mother, in one hand, hugged me, and the other one, right? She was like, you have an idea what I have been going through 3 hours, right? I was very thrilled. And then I got married, and I have kids. And that was the end of that, right? Now, like, my kids going to Brooklyn, I'm stressing out. And I remember that at one point, it became really like every time we were on a plane and the plane was shaking, right? To Colombia, the planes shake like terrible because you're going through the Andes. Anybody who went to Colombia knows what I'm talking about. I don't know how they like actually land. And right, you become like very nervous. And it was something that I really felt I needed to work on. But how do you work on an emotion? How do you not feel? Or how do you rewrite your feelings? If you find the recipe, please tell me. But then, about a year ago, I started learning Shaar HaBitachon with my chavruta. This is the book we're learning every single day. And we just went to Colombia again in the summer. And I didn't tell my kids or my husband that the plane is going to really shake badly because they won't come. And then we took this 4.5 hour flight from here to Cartagena. And I don't think I have ever been on a plane that shook as much. And I was just calm. And they're looking at me like, what happened to her? And I said, Shaar HaBitachon, that's what happened. Either I have full faith that Hashem is taking care of me. That doesn't mean I don't feel nervous. It means that when I feel that nervousness, I'm still able to say, don't worry, it's going to be okay because I'm being taken care of. And that brings to the emotion. So how do you control your thoughts? How do you control your emotions? You control your emotions through the thoughts that you're thinking. How do you control your thoughts? Only by putting positive, healthy thoughts in your mind. Because your default setting is to be worried and to be right. That's the way we are. So we don't want to be trees. We want to be the fruits. We want to be able to believe and have completely faith that Hashem is taking care of us. Okay? Now, we want to be trees and fruits. What does it mean? It means our ability to cope and to deal and to stand up and to weather every single storm that life brings to us. To get to that place when we could handle anything that Hashem is sending our way. Now, disclosure, it's not simple. You're not going to get there by reading the book once. You're not going to get there just by listening to the book. It's actually when I say to people who are learning, I always say, learn less pages. It's not about getting through the book, but it's by applying the concepts. And if you start applying this concept that Hashem is in control, and this is the forefront of the default setting in your mind, by default, your emotions change. So don't even try to engage with your emotions. There's no point to fight that war because you're not going to win. The only way to engage is in your mind. So in other words, what does this really mean? It means that when a person studies and implements and begins to master the Chovot HaLevavot, this sefer, the duties of the heart, really what it means is that there shouldn't be any distinctions between a religious person and an emotionally healthy person. What does that mean? It means, because it's not about how many mitzvot I'm doing. You could hit all the marks in all the mitzvot that you're doing. But if you're not in your center being connected, you're literally getting only half of the equation. As we have learned in the past, that the Jewish people said, Na'aseh v'nishma. Do you remember when the Jewish people in Har Sinai Shavuot, we say Na'aseh v'nishma? Why couldn't we just say Na'aseh? I'm going to do like a robot. I'm doing, okay, I wake up, I say Madea. Okay, I pray. No.
Why is not 7
Excellent question.
I think we're going to do it first, then we'll listen. Whatever he tells us to do, we'll do.
So-
The blind faith.
One is because it's the blind faith. I'm doing it because Hashem said so, right? Like when a parent says to the kid, "Ma, why I have to do that? Because I said so." That's it, just do it, right? But the second part, which is really beautiful, is because by you doing it, it gives you the ability to understand why you're doing it. You know, it's like it's compared. There's a nice story in the Torah. Compare, understanding for experience. Right, you understand because you experience it. There's a nice story in the Torah that says that I don't remember the mashal a story that says that a person one time it was not well, and this person wasn't well, so he needed to take some medicine. So he started fighting with the doctor. You have to explain to me how's the medicine, how does it work, what is the chemical composition. That meanwhile he's getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Take the medicine and then you'll understand how the medicine works. That's Naaseh Benishma. By you doing it enables you, opens the channels of your mind to be able to understand how is this good? How is this connecting me to Hashem? What is the ramifications of what I'm doing? So Naaseh Benishma. You do your channels and then Hashem, you have to open the channels for the bracha to come. And I think it's a very important thing that we need to just keep it in mind. We don't want to be a tree, we want to be the fruit, meaning that you want to have the ability to cope, to deal, to stand up, and to understand how to weather the storms of life. Because we're all going to be tested. As long as you're breathing, let me tell you, you're working on something. Also, I hope you're working on something, right? That's just the nature of the beast. That's how it works. So, in other words, what does it really mean to study and implement, study and implement and master this idea of the Chovot HaLevavot? And what it really means is that it should not be any distinction between a person who is keeping the Torah as a religious person and your ability to be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which was the idea that we circled just back to Naaseh Benishma. Now, how can there be somebody who believes in Hashem and he believes in all the obligations that were given at Sinai, which means the Torah mitzvot, and he believes that he has to do mitzvot, and at the same time, he doesn't have the emotional capacity to deal with the ups and downs of life? Doesn't make sense. If you're really centered and connected, then you know that whatever is coming your way, that's your shlichut. It's not easy. It's really not easy. And I don't know anyone else. I could tell you for my own life, there were moments that I looked and I said to my husband, how am I supposed to do this? I just don't know. Like, and I wasn't saying it so calmly, right? I was, how you say that?
Raging of emotions.
Not raging, but like the emotions were like, right? Like moments in my life where I say, I can't, like, this I can't do. This I cannot do. But if you really believe in Hashem, you know that you can. Not easy. I remember when, God bless my son, he got lost in the park. He was 2 years old. And he got lost in Hershey Park. I think it was Hershey. Was Hershey, Judy? I think it was Hershey. And I don't know, it was like 20 minutes. We couldn't find him. And I remember, like, we did everything. We were looking. We had a bunch of other kids that we had to make sure they're not getting lost. And we walk into the park and we're looking on, I'm not myself. And I say, if I was my son, what would I do? So I go down to like 2-year-old and say, okay, I see SpongeBob there. So I went up the hill to see, no. And I remember like not being myself. I remember going to my kids still laugh about it. It's not funny for me, but okay. Going to the guards, right? I don't touch guys. I'm holding onto the guy and say, shut down the park, shut down my kids. I was a lunatic beyond, right? And this guy comes to me, don't know who he is, Eliyahu Nabi, and he holds me and he says, describe him. And all I could blurb is, I don't know. So he shakes me and he says, describe him. And he said, long, curly hair, up to here, black, gray, fair skin. Tell me what he was wearing. Really? Really? So again, I get a second shake. Tell me what he was wearing. What did you put on him this morning? So I say, white shirt, overalls, platter, blue, white and blue, and little sandals. He's like, now come down. You're going to get him back. And I remember for those 20 minutes until my husband found him, Baruch Hashem, I was, you could just imagine how I was. And I remember I came to a place and I look at the sky and I say, Hashem, I could do anything. This I cannot do. Please help me. I cannot. And within minutes, Judy's husband was, right, we found him. And I remember walking through and I said, don't lie to me. I cannot, like, I'm not, I have to be honest. My emotions were out there. But I do remember saying, Hashem, you need to help me. So I wish I had learned this, and then hopefully I will have been in a better state. But the reality is that it's connecting and connecting and connecting, understanding that at that moment when you are going through something difficult, Hashem is right there with you. And what the Chovot HaLevavot gives you, it gives you this ability to say, read, ready or not, here I come, Hashem. You put me in this, there must be a reason, I'm here. Is it so easy to be, as it's been said? Absolutely not, but we could definitely do it. I'm going to wrap up in like 2 minutes. Now, it shouldn't be possible because the Chovot HaLevavot, the duties of the heart, are every bit as essential to Judaism as tefillin are. So a person has a mitzvah, has two places. It has the action that you're doing, right? I'm going to give tzedakah, but then it has the intention that you have behind. So if, for example, you're walking down the street and you find somebody and somebody says, oh, can I have $1? And you look at him and like, maybe he should go to work. Well, okay, fine, whatever. Here's the dollar. That is a very different giving. That mitzvah that you did as a whole is very, very different than when you're like, oh my God, this person needs something. Let me go to the supermarket and buy him the whole thing. It's not about the amount of money that you're giving, but it's about the intention that you're giving with. So the idea of how you duty of the heart, how you're feeling about it, has a tremendous impact on the way you mitzvot. And this is what Rabbeinu Bachya he identified at the time, and is really the need to exist in every single time. Is something that we have throughout the generation. Is something that in each generation we have, and we struggle again and again to learn to trust Hashem, to really understand that Hashem is there. Life is not about fulfilling your star, your wish list, but it's about you every single morning shredding your star and taking on the one that Hashem is handing you. And it was such a powerful lesson for me that how many times, do you know where the struggle really is? The struggle is when we don't accept Hashem's paper to us, when we don't accept Hashem's journey for us, when we are fighting the basic things of who we are and where Hashem put us. Don't think Hashem made a mistake. Hashem knows exactly where we are, who are our friends, where we're born, which are our capabilities, which are the things I need to work on. All we have to do is to tune in. To tune in and time again to work on the things that are really difficult for us, to bring Hashem into the picture and to say, this is not about me. Because guess what? You're living in planet Earth has absolutely nothing to do with you. Your planet, you're living on Earth, is that you are being sent on a mission because you could empower or change or teach or bring light in a way that no one else can do before you or after you. And what Chovot HaLevavot is going to be teaching us is how to be congruent, how to be on the same space where what's being brought into my life is really, I could process it in the best possible way and I could bring out the purpose for what I'm created. That's what Chovot HaLevavot is. And I don't see any other book nowadays, obviously, reading the Parsha every single week and saying Tehillim every single day. It's the best thing we could do now. But I don't see another way to really breach what we are experiencing as a nation, the damage, the hurt, the pain, the atrocity of what we're living through, whether it's in Eretz Israel, whether it's the hostages, whether it's our own children on campus, whether it's my own daughter who goes on the train and every day she's wondering, right? We're all living in a different reality. It says that the word nisayon, within it, there's nes, right? In the word nisayon. What is nisayon? A challenge, a test. What is nes?
Miracle.
A miracle. So within the nes, the nisayon that Hashem is giving you, He's already giving you the portion or the answer to the problem. So yes, Hashem gave us a very dark time, but He already gave us 1,000 years ago the ability to have full faith in Hashem. It is not the troops. It is not Biden. It's not Obama. It's not if they gave money to Iran or not. It's none of it. It's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we're fighting His war. We just have to cannot be told what that is, and that what Chovot HaLevavot is tuning us in to have pure faith that no matter what we experience or hearing. And I heard something very beautiful is that this is not time to be contemplating. This one is right, the right is right, the right is left, the left. It's not time to contemplate. It's time for action. It's time to unite with anybody you know who needs to really bring Avat Israel and to bring energy and good to the Jewish people and beyond, not only to the Jewish people, obviously. Okay, I hope you girls enjoy the class for today. Next week, we're going to begin to the real beginning of the Sefer Shaar Bitachon. If you guys want to learn it, if you are going to be reading, while I'm giving you like summaries of different things, you're going to be reading from the inside, it will make even more. It's really the call for the day. The call for the day is to bring ourselves in thought, speech, and action to the line of Hashem. I know it might sound like so spiritual out there, but I'm telling you, when you live on the wavelength, when you know that everything that is happening is His, you're not going to worry as much. You're not going to yell as much. You're going to live in tranquility, which is the first chapter of this book.